Hey everybody, happy Saturday. Hope your weekend's going well. Wanted to come and chat for a few minutes. Recently, I had a couple people reach out to me, different reasons, um, but it kind of made me think for a second because they were giving me some advice, and their advice was a well-meaning, and I took it definitely with gratitude because sometimes taking advice is not always easy, right? But when you stop and think about the intentions behind the advice, or even does the intentions really matter? I mean, if you're getting advice and you can use that feedback or that advice to your advantage to help you grow, to become a better person, or to improve something, um, I think setting aside ego is a big part of that. I personally will make mistakes, just like everyone else. I'm not above correction by any means. uh, but also psychologically and internally, I acknowledge that, right? Sometimes people are very defensive when you try to correct them, and I have situations where I get defensive as well. I mean, I'm gonna sometimes be a little protective over my space, just like several other people. But for the most part, I would like to think that when I get advice or someone offers feedback, especially when it's coming from someone who you trust and who wants the best for you, it's important to take that advice to heart and to think about it. Whether you implement it or not, that's up to you, right? Sometimes the advice you get may or may not be relevant, and maybe someone doesn't really know the full context of, why you may be doing something. But the point is, you know that they mean well, and you want to, give them the benefit of the doubt, and you also want to take the good from whatever they're giving you and utilize it in a way that helps you grow. So, I thought about that for a bit, and I said, first of all, I'm really grateful and thankful that they took the time to say, hey, heads up, something that you're doing might be not a good idea. And I certainly agreed with them. They were right off the bat. I'm like, you know what? I was already kind of doubtful about it, and when they told me, I was like, yes, absolutely. You're just basically confirming what I was already kind of mentally grappling with. So, I mean, I took it to heart for sure, but then it kind of led me down the path of, well, sometimes our ego gets in the way. You look at someone with a credential, so to speak, and you're like, I don't feel like, talking in a way that might be correcting that person. I'm not above correction, folks. I'm going to post things sometimes. I'm going to say things, either not provide full context because, you forget, or it doesn't come to your mind at that moment, or you think about it later, like I'm trying to do this podcast thing or shoot videos, and a day later I'm like, crap, I should have said this, or I should have talked about that, and I missed that point. So it's this constant progression of trying to improve and acknowledging that not everything is going to be perfect. I'm going to make mistakes, I'm going to misspeak sometimes, and I'm hoping that folks will feel comfortable enough to ask questions, have conversation, and engage with other people as well. Both people that may know more, or may be learning like the rest of us are. This is a learning process. I think some people say that, I've heard that the best form of education is teaching sometimes, where you're teaching others your knowledge. You actually reinforce education, you reinforce knowledge and information for yourself. And so sometimes just a big part of education is trying to educate others. It forces you to take a second and refresh knowledge which you may have learned before and maybe forgot. I know that's happening to me a lot now. I need to go back and refresh a lot of knowledge that it's been a while since I looked at, and that's a good exercise to go through because memory is sometimes a funny thing. Anyways, some thoughts I wanted to talk about, and just give people the license to know that it's okay not to be perfect. And I'm speaking to myself first. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves to have everything polished, and I'm not going to have a transcript in front of me for the most part and sitting here talking to a camera with a transcript and a teleprompter. And maybe for some important videos I will, to have some talking points, but I don't want it to feel scripted, like I'm sitting here reading a script. And for the most part, you're not going to get perfect Rayhan. You're not going to get perfect 100% accurate information all the time. But what I will say is this: I try to keep an open mind. I'm not above changing my opinion on something, especially if someone has information which I may not have thought about, or a perspective I haven't thought about before. And this is a learning process. I do promise that I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to lie. If I say something that's incorrect, it was from a place of my own understanding, and maybe I was incorrect on something, but that's where I'm at. I have a commitment to myself first and foremost, and to all of you, to make sure that whatever I'm giving you is as accurate as I can make it, and that I'm not going to misrepresent myself, which we seem to be seeing a lot of these days with people on social media getting millions of followers, and you find out later on that they're lying about stuff or misrepresenting things, and for what? I mean, eventually it comes out. So what you see with me is what you get. Take it or leave it, folks. I hope that helps, and I hope that you keep listening, working on some exciting things. Talk to you later. Have a good weekend.